Let's talk about it.
Hello and welcome back to Thicc Radio, the award-winning podcast where we talk about gaining, feedism, and everything in their orbit. I'm James.
And I'm Tim, so let's get into it. Today we are welcoming a very special guest. Today we are welcoming the CEO, editor-in-chief of Queen Size Magazine and the executive producer of the Full Figured Industry Awards, Tawana Blassingame.
Thanks, guys.
Hello, my love. How are you today?
Hello, my loves. I'm good. How y'all doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Doing good.
Dealing with a sort of false start to the warm weather here. It decided to peak for a second and then it said nope. And the temperature went right back down again.
Same here. We have rain today, so lovely rain.
As a pasty-skinned ginger from Australia, I never thought I would enter a time in my life where I would be eager to see the sun. And I was cucked by the sunlight here for a brief weekend period in early March, and now it's gone back to being frigid again, and I'm suddenly sat here joined in chorus and song praying for the sun to return to us. So, you know,
how quickly we forget my 40th birthday in Orlando in mid-July.
Wow.
That was Florida. That Florida sun hits different, I think.
It is, yeah, it's different sun down in Florida.
Different sun. But Tawana, we are so excited to have you on the podcast today, having you on the podcast officially. So listeners, as you all know, we changed up our little intro recently to know that we are an award-winning podcast because we are an award-winning podcast, and it's actually courtesy of this wonderful woman, Tawana, right here. So you can thank her for me going through and tapping on my little microphone and being like, ahem, award-winning, thank you, actually. So, you know, thank you. Tawana?
Listen, I was gonna touch on that because I heard the intro and I was like, yes to the award winning. And let me just listen. Y'all can thank me all you want, but you have to thank your followers who have nominated you and then who did the work and voted for you as well. And then thank yourselves for submitting the appropriate documents or meeting the criteria and everything, just going above and beyond to even win. So, you know, this is all y'all and all of your audience. Listen, I just produced. So congrats.
Thank you.
Well, listen, let's take that moment then. Thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. And you know what? Thank you to everyone who's been a part of the show. Like, genuinely, let's take a moment here for that, right? Because obviously everything that we do for our community, and we do with a lot of love and a lot of hours, because it do take work to make it be the thing that it needs to be. So thank you everyone who has contributed in your own way, whether you've been a part of the show, if you're a listener, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. If you're hearing this, thank you. We really
Thank you very much.
We have a lovely little trophy. We actually two. Actually, we got one each, which was very lovely.
Yeah, we were kind of sitting there thinking, like, do you think they're only going to give us one? And I was like, well, if they only give us one, it can live at your house because, you know, this was your baby, this was your brainchild, you know,
It's
like
joint custody. And when I visit America next, I'll transition to Tim and hand over, like, you've got jurisdiction now for the next calendar year. But no, we got one each, which was wonderful. And I know we talked about this before, but she's a proper trophy. Because, you know, we didn't see like what the trophies had looked like in years previously or before the event. So we were like, you know, like it could be like a paper certificate thing. It could be like like a mahogany board with like a little bronze plaque with like the name on it or something. No, bitch, it was a full paperweight, like a weapon,
a weapon. Yeah, you could club somebody to death with it.
Thank you.
Just don't club anybody to death.
No. But I mean, you know, in case of a zombie break-in, I know what weapon I'm grabbing.
True.
Precisely. In a house fire, that is the one thing I am taking with me. It covers a multitude of purposes. But listen, we've got you here with us today, and I thought it might be a really interesting time to go through your back catalogue and really explore, as much as it's great that we've won an award, the woman behind that award. And all of the things that lead to that. So, Tawana, are you ready to get into it with us today?
I'm so ready.
Oh, marvelous. So listen, For people who are unaware of you, what would you say is the first thing you want our listeners to know about you?
Probably that I am a hardworking person. Let me rephrase that. I'm a smart working person. I work smart, not
Smarter, not
hard.
harder.
Yes. That's pretty much what I want the world to remember me by. Just someone who gives 100%, who loves to give back, who loves to help people, and work smart.
That's something that I'm still struggling with. Unfortunately, I don't, and this wasn't taught to me, but somehow I adopted like do everything in the most asinine way possible. And
My
I really
goodness.
got to stop doing that. I don't know if it's my flair for the dramatic or what, but thankfully, working with James is starting to change that.
Oh, I've seen his spreadsheet, so I get that.
Thank you. Spreadsheets on spreadsheets. I like what you say they're working smarter, not harder. Because, listen, sometimes I mentioned this before, it does take work to make the thing
Hmm.
happen. Absolutely. There is no denying that. There's no countenance to it. There is the work and it must be done. However, once we have the knowledge of how these processes work, that's half the work already done. So now we know
Hmm.
how to figure out patterns and systems. We know how to put our things in place so it all rolls over smoothly, according to
Hmm.
plan, with far less effort and energy expended in the maintenance of the.
Right.
Still takes work to get it up to speed, but once we're at cruising altitude, we like to cruise.
Right. I mean, the whole working hard thing is it's overwhelming. And I've been to the point where I've been extremely overwhelmed. And I'm like, yeah, some things are gonna have to change. So you have to make things work for you and not the other way around.
I think that's a really good question to ask here. You talk about that experience of being overwhelmed. One, how do you identify that feeling of being overwhelmed? And two, once you can acknowledge it, what do you do to remove yourself from that place of being overwhelmed?
Oh, easy question, because I've been here recently. Usually when I'm overwhelmed, I feel like I get this feeling of being just all over the place. Like I'm trying to attack way too many things at one time. I'm not finishing stuff. I start making mistakes and then I start getting angry because now I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at everybody else who's asked me to do something else. Like I get mad. And I say, when I'm at work, I say, yeah, I'm getting a little too snippy. So I need a vacation. So that's usually how I identify it. Like I will be unnecessarily snippy. And then once I start to feel that way, like I have to get up and walk away from everything that it is that I'm doing. If it's a deadline that I have to complete at that moment, I'm going to complete it. After that, I have to get up and walk away from it. When I say get up, it may be get up out the chair. Get up mean close the laptop and just throw it across the bed, not the floor, and just put everything down and just take a minute to myself and just decompress and really start to think about what the priorities are. You know, is this really that serious? And then once I get to the point where, and it's usually after a couple of days, depending on what it is that has overwhelmed me, it's usually after a couple of days, I've taken a couple of days off from whatever it is that I'm doing. And then I go back to it with a clear mind. And you realize it really was not that serious. And then you realize what the priorities are and you get the priorities done. And once everything is done, and you're just like, I was worried about what? But things build up and sometimes you have to stop and you have to walk away and you have to get yourself together, give your brain a rest, and that's usually how I handle it.
I can identify with that a lot. Like, with the certain political atmosphere that exists over here right now in the US, I had a bad tendency to doom scroll. And when you're kind of empathetic, you just sort of start to soak up like all that negative energy that's going on around there, and you feel tired. You feel like, and I was telling James, I'm like, I've had to get off of social media for a while, and when I go on YouTube now, all I'm watching is like dog videos because that's all I can handle at the moment.
Yeah, I feel that. There are days I have said many times, if it was not for the award show, if it was not for the magazine, I probably would not be on social media that much. Very rarely. And because I have to be on social media now, and now, recording and editing and putting up content, it's like, because I have to be there, you get caught up in the whole scrolling and stopping and reading, and you go down this whole rabbit hole, then you're like, now got to find out what the outcome of this was, and it's not even worth your sanity. So for me, it's like, unless it's something that I absolutely need to know, I'll follow it. If it's something, I can't do that today, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to scroll past. Matter of fact, I'm just going to go over here and stay on my own page and not scroll down nobody's timeline because I can't handle it.
To pivot to the FFIAs, you, like James was saying, graced us with the Outstanding Podcast Award for 2024. And I'm curious, like, had you ever heard of the gaining and like theater community before? And also, like, after listening to the stuff that we submitted, like, how do you feel about it?
So, in all honesty, no, I have never heard of your podcast beforehand. And it's not just yours. I have some of the podcasts that were submitted. I've never heard of them until they were submitted. A lot of the nominees the same way, and this is why I enjoy the process, because I get to learn who some people are that I did not know before. And then of course, comes the research from my own personal, because I want to see who you are and what it is that you do, why you were nominated. And then I've listened to some of your podcasts and I was like, I love this. This is different. This is different from what I normally listen to, right? And so I appreciate the newness for me because it was something different. And I find myself listening to it and laughing. I was like, oh my God, they are a bag of laughs. But I can understand some of the things that you guys are talking about. And I get to learn some of the things that you guys experience as well. So it was refreshing getting to learn more about y'all.
That's really wonderful to hear. I feel like sometimes with concepts, like what we talk about with gaining and feedism, I think that sometimes people can really come to that with a lot of baggage and a lot of fear around projected ideas of what something
Mm-hmm.
is when they don't share that experience. And, we've always been very upfront with the fact that we come to every conversation, we're going to be honest, we're going to have a giggle, we're going to go all the way there, but we'll hold your hands. And it's truly by the end of it all, it's kind of like what you were saying, when you feel a bit worked up about something, you got to take that step back. And then once you breathe and come back to it, you realize maybe this wasn't a big deal after all, and you can kind of approach it with a bit more comfort. I'd like to think it's the same thing with how we approach some of the tougher subjects. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that there isn't sometimes some things to unpack, or, some biases maybe we got to address, but we're coming at it from the perspective of like, we're all human and we're just here to try to have a good time. So if you're willing
Right.
to meet us with that kind of chill vibe, we can all learn and go somewhere together. And I love that you come at it with that sense of it's learning something new, something that is unfamiliar to you. And I I feel like, and we're going to get into it with Queen Size and with the fires, but that personal effort to just understand people, it shines through in everything that you do, and we receive that
Thank
wholeheartedly.
you. I appreciate that. I think, you said it. We're all human, right? And then, somebody said to me not long ago, ignorance is not an excuse, right? And so we stay in these familiar spaces that we can either relate to, or indirectly or directly. And for me, with the magazine and just really getting to know people, I want to learn some new stuff. I want to learn more about other people's lives and what it is that they experience. Because for me, it's like I may end up with a friend or something like that, where I don't know what it is that they go through, right? But listening to a podcast like yours, it's like when I'm talking to that friend or whatever, it's like, you know what? I get that. I understand that because I learned that over here. You know what I mean? And so it's learning, being open to learning about other people's lives and other people's experiences is important in this life, period. We only get one, right? And so we're here for a good time, not a long time. And so you might as well learn while you're here, right?
Well, listen, before we get into the meat of, queen size and a lot of your career things, let's offer this up to you here. Is there an aspect of gaining in fetishism that you want to understand more about? Or I suppose, is there anything that you're still kind of like, you want to learn a little bit more about it?
No, not that I can think of. Not really that I can think of. I feel like you you can't ask a question that you don't really know about. You know what I mean? So I think that listening to you guys, like I've gotten a clear understanding of who you are, and I appreciate who you are. So I don't really have any questions right now, but when I do, I know who to go to.
Hey, listen, what do we always say, Tim? It's like if nobody else is out here giving you the answers, you know that you can always come and ask the
Yes.
questions of us. But I think it's time. I think now it's time for us to really dig in.
Well, let's
So,
dig. Get the shovel. Let's dig, honey.
baby, get the shovel, get ready to dig. Oh my goodness, yes. So listen, you founded Queen Size Magazine back in 2011. For people who have not come across Queen Size Magazine before, what is it?
So, Queen Size Magazine is a monthly publication really geared towards the full figure community, both for men and women. A little back history on QSM when we first started in 2011. It started as a lifestyle publication just for women. And then we introduced fashion into the publication, and it has evolved since. It is now a fashion and lifestyle publication. It's not just for women anymore, it's for all people of all sizes. And yeah, I'm not going to keep talking because I know that the more questions are going to come, and I can sit here and answer all your questions and leave y'all with none. So I'm not going to do that.
Well, what do like? I know that there are a lot of magazines that have been around forever, and like, so, like, what were there any specific magazines that inspired you to create Queen Size? Like you said, like, did you at any point say I would like to emulate another magazine, or I'd like to kind of take on the torch from one of those magazines and start my own thing?
Nope. When we first started, well, let me not say we. When I first got into the publication arena, Queen Size Magazine wasn't my first magazine. My first magazine was called Royal Circuit, and it was about the circuit community, the biker clubs, the social clubs, like all of those clubs. That's what the magazine was about, Royal Circuit. But it wasn't an area that I can really relate to. I get invited to go to the parties. I go to the parties. I see all the things that they do for their community. And so, I would interview different people, but it's like they all do amazing things, but it's all along the same thing. And so after a year of doing Royal Circuit, I was like, okay, this is just repetitive for me. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So if I was going to continue in the publication arena, it had to be something that I can personally relate to. And so that's why I started QSM, Queen Size Magazine. There wasn't another publication that I knew of. And I knew there were some publications out there, but I didn't know of any, only because I never researched. I didn't really care to know. I just knew that I personally wanted to start this publication, and this is what I wanted to call it, and this is what I wanted it to be about. So it was selfish of me because I just wanted to write for a magazine. And then I created this platform, and it allowed other women to share their stories of who they were living in their plus bodies. And then it just evolved. And then that's when I started going out places, and I would meet other people who had magazines. At the time, it was Full Blossom magazine that was evolving, Plus Model magazine, who was, still out, rebranded, Pose magazine. I started to meet all these people, and I was like, oh, I didn't know all these people were out here. And then I had to do the research, and yeah, and the rest is history. Most of these people, I have a good business relationship with. Maddie and I from Plus Model magazine we're just the closest friends. Like, I know her family. We're in this whole little circle of trust thing. Her mom loves me. I love her mom. So yeah, to answer your question, no, there was not a magazine at the time that, I wanted to emulate.
See, I love that. And I feel like when you look at QSM and listeners, first of all, go and look at QSM because it is curated, it is stunning. Digital print, it is just high. You can tell that the photos are like warm and high gloss and like it is designed gorgeously. Like there really is something to be said about a bitch serving in her gift and delivering us with the excellent goods. You can pick it up and look at it and go, God damn, this is fantastic. So first of all, you'll need to go and check out QSM. Trust and believe. But we talked already a little bit in the episode, talking about the work that needs to go into the thing to make it what it needs to be. And I think even in other interviews, you talked a lot about, you need to learn a lot to be successful, and you've shared that with us so far. What do you feel has been the greatest key to your success?
The ability to, I guess, be open to learn. I used to feel like as long as I had the columnists, the people that do the columns, as long as they were experts in their fields, you can take this on, right? But I had to learn that that's not going to work, because if one of them walk away, it's is the column going to just fade away, or am I, as the editor in chief, going to have to pick this up? So I think that being open enough to learn all the aspects of the publication, to me, I think that was my greatest success. Because now, honestly, if I had to write every single article in magazine, every column, be it beauty, fashion, whatever the column is, I could. And in all honesty, I have. But that was me being open enough to know that I had to learn these things. And to me, I think that that's my greatest success when it comes to QSM.
You are such a driven person. How do you maintain that drive and still keep up the motivation? Like how do you keep from getting burned out?
I'm just crazy. Uh, I'm crazy. I have had these moments, these burnout moments. And I think that when you have, so when you reach the bottom is when you learn how to climb out, right? So when you've reached those moments of feeling burnt out, it's not a feeling that you enjoy. And so I learned not to put myself in a position where I'm burnt out. And so I learned to take time for myself as well. Now I am strict when it comes to deadlines. I'm insanely strict when it comes to deadlines. I don't miss deadlines. I have been putting out this publication since 2011. I have never missed an issue. I've never missed a deadline. The magazine comes out on the first of every month. You best to believe the first of the month that magazine is coming out. And so to me, I think as a publication, when you introduce a publication to your audience, you're kind of giving them a promise to say, this is what I'm going to give you every month. And you don't break that promise. So it's a commitment that I made, and I don't go back on my commitments. I just make sure, like in the beginning, I said, you have to make sure that things work for you and you don't work for it. Once I started to feel like I was working for the magazine, I had to take a look at it and say, hold on, there are some things that we have to change, because this is becoming a lot of work. Now, it is a lot of work. It is. But it should not be 24/7 work. I should be able to set aside X amount of hours in the week to get this done and still work on X, Y, and Z. And once I feel like I'm dedicating a whole day to just this one project here, some things have to change because I have other stuff to do. And I think that me maintaining a schedule and making sure that I can realistically meet deadlines is really what prevents me from that whole burnout.
I love hearing about this idea of scheduling, right? Like, I understand, a lot of us didn't have a good time in school. So when we think about the idea of doing homework, or we think about having to put ourselves to a schedule, we put ourselves right back in high school where we just don't wanna. And I understand that. But there really is something to be said of when you understand how many units of energy you can expend over the course of a day, a week, a month, a year, you understand how much you can therefore do. Once you do your 9 to 5 that pays your bills, and once you do all the other commitments you've got, we know that you're a mother of two. You know, you've got things on the docket that must get done. You don't have a choice, must get done.
Right.
But that sense of keeping yourself to task, I think, is crucial because I know for myself, yes, there's the podcast elements, but also, baby, I live in London. I want to be out in London. I want to go do things with my friends. I want to go to the bar and have a couple drinks. I need to budget my dollars. I need to go and do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping yourself to something that helps you to outline what you're doing and when you do it and how you do it, I think actually takes a lot of that stress off your shoulders of trying to remember everything. I don't need to remember shit. It's in
Right.
the schedule. So long as I look at the schedule, I will see it and it will get done. I don't need to stress myself out about the rest.
Facts. I used to say I never want to be, and this was before I started doing all this. I never want to be somebody who lived by a schedule. That's what I used to say. Now I live by a schedule. I
Which
can't live without it.
As annoying as it might end up, it's sounding to some people. I mean, we are human beings are creatures of habit, and endless studies have been done about how human beings actually function best on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the creative, chaotic ones, we're railing against it, but we eventually fall in line.
Right. After a few burnouts.
yeah. Eventually you have to learn to pivot, is what it is. Now I do want to say
Mhm.
here, we listened to an episode, Nathaniel J was interviewed, and he said that you have put a lot of people on the map. And baby, I need to ask you, what talent inspires you?
First of all, shout out to Nathaniel J. He's one of my favorite people. What talent inspires me in other people, you mean?
Yeah, like whether it's for the magazine or for the fires or just in the world, when you come across people and you go, damn, like that is something. What is it in that that inspires you?
I think, okay, music. I love music, right? I think my favorite talent might be singing, and it's the one thing I don't know how to do. Now I can hold a note. I can hold a note. I can recognize music. Most of my family sing. My mom sings, my aunts sing, or my uncles sing, and most of my family sing. I think the whole music thing kind of skipped over me, and everybody else got it. But it's fine because I can write and they can't. It's okay. But I think music probably is my favorite talent. It's the one thing that I wish I could do. Now I can do it very well in the shower, but once I come out the shower, not really. Not
Yeah,
really.
I've held my own shower karaoke sessions, and I've even done regular karaoke, but I was pretty drunk when I was doing it.
I love karaoke. So they asked me what I wanted to do for my birthday again, and again, the answer is going to be karaoke.
Mhm.
We did karaoke when we went to Puerto Rico last year. I did karaoke the year before. The karaoke the year before that. I can do, like, you can stop asking me every year what I want to do for my birthday because it's going to be a karaoke.
Well, maybe you want to do karaoke every year, but what are your go-to karaoke songs?
Oh man, I can hit Whitney Houston. Or listen, all the songs with the high notes, I can do. I can rap in a room. Like you can really put on anything, and I'm good. I'm gonna hit the notes. I'm gonna rap to Jay-Z. Like I love it. My favorite is Monica. Monica is my favorite. So if you put on Monica throughout the whole you can play karaoke you can play Monica the whole karaoke. I might be the only one with the mic, but that's okay. That's my favorite.
Damn good choice. But to pivot back to the magazine for a second, so in 2018, Queen Size Magazine was awarded Magazine of the Year at the Full Figured Fashion Week. Did that bring any opportunities that you weren't expecting, or something that really surprised you?
So that was a good day for me. It was a good day for me. It really did validate everything that I was trying to do, but I want to say that moment really did put us on a map. Full Figure Fashion Week was, and I really wish Gwen would bring back Full Figure Fashion Week. Gwen, if you listen to this, I'm gonna ask this 100th time, please. But she's gonna say no, leave me alone. That's okay. It was worth the ask. Full Figure Fashion Week was our fashion week. There was nothing higher than Full Figure Fashion Week. And so to be recognized during their 10th anniversary showcase on that stage in front of the industry, it was a memorable moment. And I think that was really what propelled us in this industry. So thanks, Gwen, again.
I love that. And we'll talk about the fires in a second. And I know that obviously you were cooking with the fires for a good couple of years before you launched. But do you feel like receiving that award in that moment maybe was a little bit of a spark where you were like, oh, maybe a little bit of putting that forward to some other folk? Do you reckon?
No, I wasn't even thinking about it then.
No, okay.
I wasn't even thinking about it then because at the time that was also our award. That was the main stage for the awards for the industry. So I wasn't even thinking about it then, to be honest with you. But I will tell you when the thought crossed my mind, Gwen was one of the first people that I reached out to let her know that I was thinking about this, even though Full Figure Fashion Week had ended at that time. She was one of the first people that I reached out to give her the idea, and she gave me her blessing. And not that I necessarily needed it, but Gwen DeVoe she's the mother of the fashion industry, in my opinion. Now, some people will say it's somebody else, but again, Full Figure Fashion Week, that was our fashion week. We didn't have anything higher than that. So, for me, she was it for me when I got into this industry. Like she was the highest name for me in this industry. And so she definitely, out of respect, she was one of the first people that I called and told her that I wanted to do this and I needed her to be on my team. And so Gwenda, y'all know, is the voice of the fires. So she was like, absolutely, you have my blessing. And she's still with me to this day.
I love that you say that you went to her for a blessing because, and like, you're right. Like when people think about things like as the business, like, do you need permission from someone else to do something? No, of course you don't. You can just go out and do it. Sure, absolutely. But you're not out here trying to run a business for the sake of trying to be like everyone else. You're out here to build community and to bring light and positivity. It's the kind of thing that you only see in that space because it comes from the top and comes down directly from the efforts made. And so even from its inception, you were trying to put the best foot forward to involve Gwen and to have it be totally above board and there's no negativity there. And of course, what then comes back to you is that positive reception and what is now built into the fires, which we're going to get to in just a second. But to close off on QSM, baby, how much does a subscription to Queen Size Magazine cost?
Well, you guys take advantage of this space that we are in right now because right now, all of our content is free to read right now. We did away with the print after COVID and we went digital. And then we allowed people to have access to the magazine for free. And that just kind of stayed. We went full digital and people can read the magazine right now. We are in talks of possibly changing that. Maybe, maybe not. I'm just saying we're in talks of it. So, definitely take advantage of the freeness right now.
Well, you all heard it here. There's no excuse not to be checking out Queen Size Magazine and investigating it very thoroughly. And I must tell you, having done some prior research and having a look at some of the articles, it's fabulous. Very much worth the read, y'all. But I think that now opens us up to delve into the wonderful world of the Full Figured Industry Awards, my love. So, the awards come around in 2019. What
Mhm.
was the initial goal you had for the awards when you were like, I want to put rubber to road and make this happen? What was the goal?
So the goal is always to become part of the mainstream award schedule. That was the goal from the beginning. That is still the goal. But I wanted to create something that our industry did not have. We don't have an award show just for the full figured industry, not in combination with any fashion show, any panel discussion, no nothing. It's just the day and a night of an award ceremony where we are honoring some of the pioneers who have came up before us and paved the way for us. And definitely the category awards for the movers and shakers in the industry today. That has always been the goal. And I'm going to stick to that. There may be some things coming down the pipeline in the future for the Full Figure Industry Awards that, I'm not going to talk about right now because it's about evolving, right? You can't do the same thing year after year after year. You have to do something different at some point. And so we are talking about doing something a little bit different in the years to come. Not yet, but we're all about evolving. You got to change with the times. You got to grow with the time. But that's always been the goal.
And we must make it clear, it is pronounced the FIAs, not the
Yeah.
FIFAs, not.
I love that. And you guys had to be in the room last year to understand that joke. I did. I made sure when I went on stage, everybody had to say it with me. Say it with me. It's called the fires. We could call the FIFAs, we could call the FIFIs, we could call everything except fires.
One thing that James and I can't stop talking about is the energy that was in that room that night. It's just the feeling of being welcomed, and everyone was there having such a great time, and everyone looked amazing. And how did you foster such an incredible, like, warm, open space for people to do this?
I think most people who come to the show know me, and this is just who I am. So, we set the stage. We set the stage for who we are before the show. So you know what to expect when you come to the show. I'm gonna give you a heads up. When I tell you come correct, come correct. I am a person of my word. When I put something out there, this is what it is. Remember, timing too, deadlines. When I tell you to be somewhere at a certain time, I'm going to need you to be there at a certain time. But I think it says a lot to the people who produce this event, and not just me. It's not just me. I'm the executive producer, but I have a whole team of people. And we kind of set the stage of what to expect before you get there. When you see us on social media, when you see us in person, you're gonna get the same person. That's who you're gonna get. You ain't never gonna get something different unless you mean to me. Then you ain't gonna get nothing. but but I wanted to make sure that we were giving people this experience, this Oscars, this Tonys, this experience. So when you show up ready to hit the red carpet and not like you going to the supermarket. So there have been people who come for the first time who was like, wait a minute, I didn't know it was like this, but I told you. So I'm glad you came. So when you come next year, you come different, okay? Come on over here and get up on this red carpet and take this picture with me.
Tim, now, baby, what did you say on the day when we arrived?
Oh, how underdressed I felt.
I mean, again, we looked at some of the videos beforehand, and we were just thinking to ourselves like, oh, some guys rock up in suits, they look real good, and there was a real wonderful range of people who wore things from, yes, suited and booted, to really looking like men's streetwear, but plus size excellence within that. So it kind of felt like there was a lot of range to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, we'll just come suited, it'll be cute. And we did feel cute in the lobby. And then we got there and we saw that everybody was decked out like nothing I have ever seen in my life. And it was just incredible.
The amount of color, just the amount of color alone, gold, blue, silver, deep red, rich purples, that one mermaid gown we couldn't get over, that when
Oh my
that was
gosh.
just like every time she moved, it just, the shimmer of color went across. It was like, God, that's why, like, when I rocked up in just that black suit and I was like, oh, I'll put on a blue tie, that'll be kind of festive, won't it? And I'm like, and I got there, I was like, well, fuck me.
Oh,
But I assure you, the people that were there that year that you saw in the images that looked like they had on streetwear, when they came the following year, they did not wear that.
Well, I'm
And
glad we didn't dress down for the occasion.
well,
No,
that's like, if when we go back again, like we got to get styled.
yeah, that'd be fabulous. Sydney's Closet, if you're listening. Baby, trust me, I'll wear a gown. Don't try me. I will, I will stomp that stage in 6 inch fuck me pumps, and I will.
I
Listen,
can't walk in heels at all, so don't put them
don't
on me.
play because I will reach out to them.
No, you haven't. No, but seriously, and listeners, if you haven't checked out the images, the gallery, obviously we post ourselves on the Thicc Radio page. We put that in the highlights. Go check that out. But go to the Fires, THEFFIAS.com. Go to the 2024 gallery. Go to the 2023 gallery as well, but go to the 2024 gallery. We are on there. Everyone is on there. People looked an absolute vision, and it was wonderful to be a part of that, really. We've said this to you before. Walking into that room, we knew that people did not necessarily know who we were. We knew that other people knew who other people were, and that was cute. And we were like, okay, we're just gonna go and we're gonna do our best to ingratiate ourselves. And it was just an unbelievable space. It really was, and nothing but commendations to you, my love.
Thank you. Much appreciated. I have to shout out my team because my team definitely makes sure everything runs smooth the day of. So I have to show them love as well. So I'm glad that when you came the day of, most people feel that way. They come. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I step outside, that's how I feel. I'm like a lot of people there. Most people I know. There are some people that I don't know. And I'm like, who is that person? And so I start to like, how do you say fangirl? Because I'm like, oh my God, I follow that person on social media. And so I have to go and I have to give them a hug. Come give me a hug. I follow you on social media. It's so good to meet you. And at some points, it just becomes a little overwhelming because it's like it's so many people I want to meet and so many people that I want to take pictures with, and I don't get to do that. But so I get what you mean when you go there. It's like you don't know people there, but you get to know people. And by the time you leave, you feel like you've known these people all your life.
It really is a wonderful experience. Now, you have in the past described the fires as a movement towards a more inclusive future. I want to ask you, what does an inclusive future look like to you?
Inclusive is I want to be able to eventually grow out our categories without being there for 3 days. Because, there are so many categories that we don't have. And I try to include people. So, and I guess this is my call to action. I do this on most interviews I do. It's, if there's a category, if you are in a profession and you feel like you do not belong in any of the categories, let's have a conversation, right? Now, I'm not going to create a category up for one, but we can talk about where you might be able to fit in. We also have our People's Choice category, People's Choice Community Service. So a lot of us out here doing community service. So look, if you don't fit in one of those, maybe you fit into this one. So I want to be able to include, most of the professions out there. I don't want anybody to feel left out. Let's figure out where you belong. And sometimes you may just belong as a presenter. You don't belong in one of these other categories. Let's have a conversation and see where you fit in to the award show.
Now, you have won two very, very important awards in your life, and I want to make sure that I get these absolutely right when I say them. But you have won the President Biden Lifetime Achievement Award for your commitment to the community and the Danny Glover Power of the Dream Award for humanitarian services. What do you want to inspire in other entrepreneurs?
It's not about the awards. That's what I want people to understand. It's not about the awards. The awards feel good, right? It's about using your platform, whatever platform it is that you have as a professional. It's about using that platform for good and to help other people. That's what I want entrepreneurs to understand. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be selling jewelry, you could be selling sneakers. How are you helping other people? How are you giving back to your community? I think that is the most important thing when you have a platform. That's what the platform is for. The platform is not just to sell products and make money. Yeah, that's good when the money comes rolling in. But, at some point you look back and the money is not everything. It's like, what did you do over your lifetime to help other people? That's what the platform is for. That's what we are giving this gift and this platform for. How are we helping other people? As an entrepreneur, that's our responsibility, other than making money.
So, circling back to QSM for a moment, just because I feel like there's so much we could really dig into, but being such an incredible product, what is the submission process like for QSM?
The submission process, I tell you, it is so simple. I do not want people to think too much into this because I've given you the answers to the test. Our whole submission process is on our website. If you go to queensizemagazine.com, go to the submissions tab, everything that you have to submit is listed on that page. Just use it as a checklist. Don't leave nothing off. Everything is a checklist. You have to submit your images. You have to submit your photo release form. You have to submit your bio to tell you how many words that needs to be in a bio. You have to submit the photo credits. Everything is listed for you there on the page. We are always accepting submissions, all genres. Okay, it's not just for women. We start at a size 8 and up. You guys do not be size discriminatory, okay? We start at size 8. So if you go to the website, just follow the submission guidelines. You can always ask us about a theme, unless you are a cover feature, or if you're submitting for like Valentine's Day or like one of those big holidays, Christmas, for whatever it is that you observe. We don't necessarily require themes for the submissions. And it'll tell you on the website. Everything is really listed on the website. If you have any questions after reading the submission guidelines, you can always shoot us an email at queensizemagazine@gmail.com and ask your questions. But really, when people reach out to me, I really direct them right back there because everything that you need is there. Just use it as a checklist and submit accordingly.
I'd like to ask, when it comes to the FIAs, this is a big endeavor. It's a big night. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Do you guys allow for sponsorships?
Allow, honey, we welcome it. Absolutely. We have sponsorship levels, to accommodate most businesses, large businesses, small businesses. We have the deck there, but we're open to if someone reaches, and we've had this all the time. People will reach out to me and they will say, "Hey, I don't have the budget for this right here, but this is what I'm looking to get out of supporting the Full Figure Industry Awards. This is what my budget is. Is there anything you can do to accommodate that?" Right? And we'll tell you yes or no. Most budgets, I'll tell you, is not too small. We can figure out how to work that in while getting the most out of your bucks. So to answer your question, yes, we allow for sponsorships. If you're interested in supporting the Full Figure Industry Awards, please do shoot us an email, theffias@gmail.com, THEFFIAS@gmail.com. We're happy to send you our sponsorship deck. Or if you have a particular budget in mind, you can send us a proposal and we can set up a call and figure out how and where you fit in. Absolutely.
Tawana, we are coming near the end of our episode today, but we need to ask you, baby, what is coming next for you? What have you got going on the books?
Well, you guys may or may not have already noticed this, but your girl done dropped the podcast. I have entered back into the podcast arena. You guys make sure you are following me. My website, tawanablassingame.com. It lists everything that I do. You have access to everything on that page. You have access to QSM. You have access to the fires. You have access to my soap business. You have access to podcasts that I recently launched. I'm so excited about that. I've been wanting to get back into podcasting so long. So make sure y'all follow my website, tawanablassingame.com, so you can access it there and listen to what I got going on.
Yes. Oh, that makes me so excited. I mean, I'm sure you couldn't tell from the fact that we host a podcast, but I love podcasts.
I
And
couldn't tell.
you can tell. No, it's a very subtle aspect of myself. Not
She's very demure, very
the,
demure.
the elusive chanteuse of podcasting. That'll be put it on my tombstone. That'll be the title. But you know so many people. You're in contact with so many people. I'm very excited. I can't wait to tune in. So you'll better be
Thank
tuning into
you.
this podcast.
I can't wait to have y'all on.
Uh, Baby, yes, absolutely. Oh my
It's
gosh.
happening. I'll have my people call your people.
Your people will talk to my people.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to do something here, because Tawana, you probably realized, I flubbed my speech. Because I tell you, I wasn't
It
expecting.
was the one time you were at total loss for words. I think in the 5 years I've known you, that's been the only time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm very rarely lost for words. I had a whole speech written out, and I was so overcome in that moment that just every ability to think of words and to even look on my phone to where I'd written it down, it had all departed me. But I was wondering, would you be okay if I maybe gave that speech here to you directly?
Of course. Now you must.
All right. Well, now everybody picture it. It's a room full of the thickest and most gorgeously dressed people you've ever seen in your life. We've just been announced as Outstanding Podcast for 2024. Everyone's clapping. It's fabulous. I get up on stage and I don't fumble my words. I have my words and they're fabulous and I have them and they're right here. So, I don't think we could ever express the depth of our gratitude for receiving this award. It's incredibly humbling to be here with everyone tonight, and I'm blown away by the joy and positivity in this room. We want to recognize our fellow nominees in this category and all of the other finalists here tonight and their incredible contributions to the plus size community. As the first podcast centered on gaining infeedism to receive any kind of award or external recognition, this moment highlights the power of podcasting and the crucial importance of community and visibility. We want to thank every guest who has shared their story and every listener who has tuned in and given their support. I want to thank my incredible partner Tom for being my rock and for all of his loving kindness. And I want to thank you, Tim, for being the best friend. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm actually getting emotional all over again. I want to thank you, Tim, for being the best friend I could ever ask for. This award goes out to every gainer and feedist. We are all in this plus size community together. Thank you. I'm okay. Sorry, I fucking love this son of a bitch. I really do.
I'm glad that you like this old whore. Not many other people do, so.
Thought I heard a little sniffle there.
Oh my goodness. Well, there you go, Tawana. That was the acceptance speech that unfortunately you did not get to hear until just now. So
I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh. But you know what? This has been a truly incredible week here on the podcast. Tawana, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to us again. And it is a busy schedule, baby, because you are out here running a schedule and getting it all done. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, I will always have time for you.
Thank you, baby. Now, where can our listeners, and I'll break this down each one, where can our listeners find everything Queen Size Magazine online?
QueenSizeMagazine.com. Social media platforms, Queen Size Magazine. We made it easy for you.
Love that. And what about everything to do with the Full Figured Industry Awards? Where can people find everything to do with that online?
Website is theffias.com, THEFFIAS.com. Our social media pages, Facebook is, you can either type in the Fias or you can type in the Full Figure Industry Awards. Our Instagram page is the Full Figure Industry Awards, all spelled out. It used to be the Fias until Instagram took our Instagram page a couple of years ago. Yeah, they did that. But anyway, we are the Full Figure Industry Awards on Instagram. My website, tawanablassingame.com. Try to make it easy for people because people typically remember my name. So if you go to my website, tawanablassingame.com, you have access to all my pages there. It will link you right back to the fires. It'll link you right back to Queen Size Magazine. It'll link you to my soaps, and it will link you to my podcast. I try to make things easy for people. Just remember my name. I'm Googleable.
Googleable. I
Yes.
love that. Tawana Blassingame. Y'all better remember that name, and it'll be right in the title. We will put a lot of those links right down there in the show notes, so you can click and go directly to give Tawana all of your love and support, because she deserves every single ounce of it, girls. But that brings us to the end of another fantastic week here on Thicc Radio. Please remember to like and subscribe, rate us 5 stars, leave us a good review. If you liked this episode, the podcast, or just us in general, please share it with your friends and encourage them to tune in. You can find me on Instagram and BlueSky at stannnum.
And you can find me on Instagram at ThiccyMouse and Grommr at Orpheus. You can also look us up on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at our Thicc Radio, or at our website at podpage.com/Thicc Radio. If you want to become a financial supporter of the show, you can donate to our PayPal, and you can always write to us at thiccradio@gmail.com. So until next time, bye, Fats.
Bye, Fats.
Hi, Max.
Let's talk about it.
Thicc Radio is a Spotify podcast
Artwork, media design, editing, and production by James Heinzen.
with original theme music by CYMK.